Damn, we're already coming up on 500 soon.
Man.
Yeah. I did prematurely say we were going to quit at 500, but that's way too soon. It's like in like 2 months.
A lot can happen in 2 months.
Hey, you never know. The way my last fucking month is gone, you never know what's going to happen in 2 months. All right, let's get into this.
Lost the podcast at a poker table in a gambling deal.
I lost the podcast in a custody dispute. Yeah, how's the divorce treating you? I lost my podcast.
Yeah, my wife took over my podcast now.
My fucking ex-wife is hosting my podcast, dude. It's brutal just having to go to the podcast studio and watch her record. Because I still got to pick up my son from podcast school, you know?
Oh, man, you ever just feel like life is just catapulting towards some greater purpose?
Average fat cats with bloated ego. We are the only DJ crazy enough to tattoo Jackie Brown on his ass.
This is Michael Mann, and I ride with
Extended Clip.
Welcome to Extended Clip. It is episode 469, and I'm one of your hosts, Eddie Averill.
I'm Malcolm Baum.
I'm JT White.
And it is the end of yet another year. Or really, when you're listening to this, it will be the beginning of another year. Oh, Happy New Year, JT. Happy New Year, Malcolm.
Happy New Year, Eddie. Happy New Year, Malcolm.
Happy New Year, guys.
And the sincerity ends there. So anyway, we are going to be coldly cynical for the rest of the episode.
This is an ironic top 10. Don't take this seriously.
No, but you should take the results seriously, but you should take them with a cool remove, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
True.
So as Malcolm alluded to here, we are counting down the top 10 films of 2025. 2025, it was a year in cinema. I'm not going to say whether it was good or bad. Or are you going to say whether it was good or bad, Malcolm?
You know, what I will say, it's like, I feel like less people have felt the need to, like, speak on the year. Is this a good year for cinema? I feel like I see that less. But maybe I'm not looking. I don't know.
It sounds like you're not reading enough bad Substacks. JT, what about you?
You can only know if it's a good or bad year for cinema, I want to say, if you've watched all of the movies. So really, the only person that should be speaking about this is Felipe Furtado.
That is very true, and I eagerly anticipate Felipe's top 75 of 2025, you know.
Don't shortchange him.
It's true, actually.
Top 1,000 of 2025.
So let's get into the list. For those who don't know how we do things over here on Extended Clip at the end of every year, Malcolm, JT, and I all make our top 10 or, top 12, 15, whatever, best movies of the year, with an emphasis on the top 10 in the point weighting situation that I do, my magical, mystical math
Movie
that
math.
I do. I was watching Good Will Hunting again this morning, and I was like, that's like what I'm doing, when I'm putting together these lists. It's very similar to solving the problem set, the famous problem set, where it looks like he's just drawing a bunch of spiders. So Malcolm, JT, and I all have our lists. I have a weighted point system. I combine these lists into one collaborative list, and we count down the results. Simple as that. So the number 10 film of the year is The Code by Eugene Kotlяренко.
Hell
yes. The Code is a fantastic romantic comedy by, I think we can call him friend of the show, Eugene. He came on for a fantastic interview earlier this year as well about love and the lack of it in relationships in modern America. And you could even frame it as a love triangle where the third point of the triangle is contemporary uses of surveillance technology. It's a movie about a failing couple taking a trip to regain potentially their sexual potency among other failing parts of their relationship, shot on, I don't know, maybe 3 300 different cameras combined. It's like just really an incredible mixed format experiment with so many hilarious scenes, a Herculean feat of editing by Tucker Bennett and Sabrina Greco, the lead performances by Peter Vack and Dasha Nekrasova just demonstrate an incredible level of chemistry. We also have Nick Coriarosi in a very large supporting role, one of the funniest dudes to ever do it. Watch The Code, ladies and gentlemen.
The Code was awesome. Not like I was surprised that it was this good, because of Eugene's other movies I've seen, like Wobble Palace and Spree, I both enjoyed them. But this was just like checking all the boxes for like things I like, especially with like looking back to the past and doing the like 30s like screwball comedy of remarriage. Eugene's a smart filmmaker and a savvy guy, and is like really concerned with like internet culture, just like the digital world in general. And I think like taking that style of storytelling and just bringing it to the contemporary, like it's so fresh and new, and I feel like a lot of people haven't done it, and it's just ripe for so many jokes there and just like great situations and scenarios, and like looks so cool. It's like a very genuinely impressive like filmic feat to pull off, and like feels so light, breezy, and fun. And then the like final, like I know there's kind of like a little postscript there with Dasha and Peter at the very end, like watching the like the movie. But when Peter is like running in the desert to like Dasha on like the clue search that she's set up for him, that looks amazing. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, the comedy of remarriage of like the classic screwball era, this is how you do it modern day. I saw a lot of people say that about like, say, Ella McKay or something like that, which I don't think was bad or anything like that. I just didn't really like it. But I don't think that's how you make a screwball in 2025. I think The Code is how you make a screwball in 2025.
I mean, yeah, Ella McKay. I mean, that script was definitely written in like 2009. Or something. I mean, maybe not, but it definitely not
that's
to be
the
too
best
harsh.
part of the generous reviews of it. It's like the film is so committed to depicting 2008. It's like, are you sure this just wasn't written in 2008 and stuffed away in a drawer?
Yeah. And you know what? We won't go too hard on Ella McKay.
No, because I
love
kind of like parts of it,
Yeah, same.
But anyway.
But yeah, I thought The Code was super funny, super formally inventive, and I admired Eugene's ability to kind of embrace or use internet culture and kind of modern day stuff in his movies, where I feel like a lot of people, they're a little more fearful of approaching that. They fear that they can't use it in a meaningful way, and I feel like he really does. And I feel like there's just so many impressive aspects with like kind of the pace of the movie and the performances, and being filtered through all these different cameras. It's definitely my favorite movie I've seen by him so far, and just really great work.
Now, before we get to our number 9 film, let's hear from one of our friends who will be periodically chiming in with some of their picks throughout the episode.
Hi, Ethan Vestby here. I've been on the show Extended Clip a couple of times now. Don't know if I need to introduce myself, so I will just proceed. But in terms of the films of 2025, probably the most memorable experience with a 2025 film was undoubtedly Louise Ward's Castration movie Part 2. So I should say I hosted what was technically the world premiere screening of it, which was an honor with my series Bleeding Edge. But the story is we were co-hosting the Toronto premiere of Castration movie Part 1. For those that do not know what that is, it is a 4.5-hour epic by filmmaker Louise Ward, kind of about her and her transgender group of friends living in Vancouver. And yes, the first film was shot on a high 8 camera It's very vulgar. It's very rough around the edges, and it's 4.5 hours long, but it's a really incredible movie. And we were able to play that at the Paradise Theater in a 200-seat auditorium. And then Louise was going to stick in town for a little bit in Toronto, and Castration Movie Part 2, which had shot earlier that summer, actually. We had a very quick turnaround time, was ready to screen. But it was a little, with this theater we play at the Paradise, it takes, you got to book things at least a month or two ahead of time. Scheduling is important. So putting this thing together last minute, we decided to do it at a small venue, Market Video in Toronto, here in Kensington Market. And it's basically someone's apartment converted into a micro cinema, and it seats about 35 people max. So we did this on Labor Day of this year, and I mean, there's air conditioning in the room, but I mean, not strong enough for the body heat of 35 people to cover. And keep in mind, Castration Movie Part 2 is 5 hours, and it is also more just challenging in a number of ways than the first installment. So watching it with a group of 35 people essentially in someone's apartment, and the heat rising, the increasingly challenging subject matter and approach of the film, like ramping up. It really felt like I just had this sort of feeling watching this film with all these other people on Labor Day 2025 of, wow, we're really all in this together, aren't we? And Louise, we stuck around to do a Q&A outside. I think we were all a little tired of being stuck in that room for 5 hours. But yeah, I would say Castration Movie Part 2, watching it in that person's apartment, their microcinema apartment, essentially, for 5 hours on Labor Day 2025, was far and away the most memorable 2025 film experience.
Number 9 on our list, the fourth feature by the poster child of A24, Ari Aster, Eddington. Eddington stars Joaquin Phoenix. It is a film about 2020 that, hey, was this just written in 2020 and stuffed in a drawer? I don't know. I think this film has a bit of, hindsight, as the tagline so cleverly says, is 2020. Yeah. But this is just such a funny film about everyone going insane in America, and Joaquin Phoenix is like pretty damn close to the level of performance he gives in Paul Thomas Anderson movies. Like, it's as good as he gets, basically, and it's just so fucking funny. It is just like one of the very funniest movies I've seen in a very long time, and provoked people in all of the right ways. I don't think it has all the answers. I don't think it claims to either. I think it's more of just an examination, and I saw some people shortchange it as like, it's nothing more than, damn, 2020 was crazy. And it's like, yeah, it was. Yeah. Like, why wouldn't that be ripe for subject matter? And I think that stylistically, he's getting better. I don't think he's a visual master. I don't think he's a great visual filmmaker yet. He's a good visual filmmaker, though. But his like narrative sense is getting a lot better, and his comedy has always been there. And I may have still preferred Beau is Afraid, to be honest, but I'm weird, and to me, that's like his best movie by far.
You're afraid.
I'm afraid. I am Beau. I'm much more like Beau than fucking anyone in Eddington.
Yeah.
Other than the girl posting the TikTok when you just finished reading Giovanni's Room, because I had just finished reading Giovanni's Room when this had come out.
There's some relatability there.
I was like, he got me. I knew better than to read it in 2020. All right. Malcolm, what'd you think of Eddington?
I really liked Eddington a lot. I thought it was super hilarious, like you said. And, there was just certain aspects to it that I just found, super kind of like elusive. And, I think of like that Austin Butler character and like kind of the weird, trauma cult that he's kind of running, and how we kind of only get like a slice of that. And all the performances in this are super great. I think Joaquin, just embodies like a type of guy that I definitely know. Like I feel like especially I've had a lot of experience working with like older guys. There's a certain type of like older conservative guy that's just kind of like checked out and going through the motions, and is like, you know, they haven't really you know, they're not so sharp mentally, you know what I mean? They're not really trying to stay on the razor's edge, so to speak. And I just felt like, you know, this is like a type of guy that needs to be depicted, because there's just so many of these type of people, and kind of you know, dissecting kind of like the different strains of like kind of conservatism within that relationship, where you kind of got Joaquin's kind of like the checked out boomer, and then the, you know, Emma Stone's character, you know, she's like a, you know, her kind of want for like extreme child safety obviously stems from like a traumatic experience she had, and, you know, is kind of getting into that specific kind of strain. And then, you know, the grandma, you know, there's no kid, so it's just the Emma Stone character's mom, you know, just being the complete conspiracy whacknut. Just a very smart, savvy movie. And I agree, like, you know, I think he's improving visually. I love the ending sequence where it kind of goes video game mode or something like that. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I even rewatched this movie, and
wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, not to brag, but you know, it only went up. My level of enjoyment only went up.
I think I might owe it a rewatch too. JT, Eddington thoughts?
Really, really loved it. I was hooting and hollering in the theaters, just like dying from the very beginning. I think it is like often like, or at least early like festival buzz, I think was, and like even pre-production stuff was very erroneously calling it a Western. But there is one sequence in the very beginning that kind of fits the bill, where it's Joe Cross going into the grocery store without a mask for the first time, and the score has kind of like the Western like sting to it, and just like the perspective in which it's shot is like a guy at the end of a Western heading in for the standoff. And that, like, tapping into like getting into the headspace of the Joe Cross character was just so funny, and just like playing it like that really tickled me. And then I think another point that like kind of links this to the previous film, The Code, and I think also is kind of funny, because when we talked to Eugene, we were joking around about him coming back for the end of the year episode. And he was saying that he was like, "What, really? You're gonna say Eddington's better, better than
Oh
The
my
Code?"
god! I might have to run back that clip right now too. That's rough.
Literally, it is in the extended clip's eyes.
Literally, it is,
Yeah,
according to the three of us combined, but you will not see the ballots to see who did place it over which one and who didn't.
Statistically, just referring to the stats. Yeah.
List in real time. I think that would be very fun.
Okay, well, hit me up when that's going down, and if I'm free, I'd be happy to come and and continue to guilt trip you if it doesn't make it. I said, you really thought Eddington was better than The Code? You son of a bitch! You thought Eddington? Are you kidding me?
See, this is the social media clip we need.
And make sure you get Ari Aster on too.
Yeah, exactly. Look, trust me, I want to get Ari Aster on contact.
But that being said, I do think something that is like very intelligent about both films is like tapping into the digital world to show like characters' interiority. Like whether it's like the I mean, I guess they show phone screens, like, or like what, like not like filming a phone, but like screen recording a phone, like kind of occurs in both. But I love like how that gives you like an understanding of what the characters are about. Like again, like I totally get the like complaints that you were saying that you brought up, Eddie, that other people had levied, where it's just like, yeah, this movie is just kind of like displaying 2020, but it's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And like with relating that to the phone stuff, like when you see the young boy that becomes the conservative like TikToker later, when you see him like Google like Angela Davis on his phone to like cite to like impress a girl, I was like, that's such a clever like funny way to like give you a sense of character interiority that like is such a commonplace thing, like someone looking something up, like I don't know, not seeing that done before. It's like Astor's using those tools to such great effect. And I would say more so than anything, like that like boils down to like politically, again, it was just like one of the funniest comedies that I've seen all year. And that's enough for me. I do agree, like I think Astor's like dramatics are still probably his weakest aspect. Like I wanted a little bit more of the Austin Butler character, but like that section is kind of the weaker points when he's going in like the like more highfalutin kind of weird territory there. I feel like it's less effective. The Emma Stone stuff mostly works for me on that front, especially like because it kind of propels Joaquin like off the ledge. But yeah, I don't know.
Number 8, The Pee Pee Poo Poo Man by Braden Sitter Sr. Malcolm, you didn't like this one?
No, I lacked in my viewership, and I haven't seen this one yet. So if there's a movie on the list that I haven't seen, I have to express bit going like, damn it, I haven't seen it.
You gotta let out a big old dag nabbit for this
like,
one, a big old shit for this one,
because I'm getting called out, like Cam Newton called out Kean Coleman in his podcast. You're not doing your job, man. The Pee Pee Poo Poo Man. I want to see this movie.
The Pee Pee Poo Poo Man has finally had its digital release, so you can buy it at, I think it's the peepeepooPooman.com, but if you just look it up, you can find it. Micro budget independent film shot on location in Toronto based on a true story about a man who terrorized the city of Toronto, dumping buckets of piss and shit on people. This iteration of the story spins it in the way that the main character, Miguel, played by Rishi Rodriguez, in a great performance that is, the construction hat and the glasses and the shit bucket he walks around with might do a bit of heavy lifting, but I love looking at the guy walk around doing his thing. So he's like already really paranoid, but he's just like also just doing a bunch of drugs and shit. And so it's like this drug induced psychosis makes him think that he thinks he's like working for a secret agency at one point. But regardless, his higher calling is to make buckets full of piss and shit and dump them on unsuspecting passersby in Toronto. And sometimes it's filmed very like dramatically in slow-mo almost, and sometimes it's not, and it's just a very, very fucking funny movie. Friend of the show, Alan from Bleeding Edge, does get a bucket of shit dumped on him, so there's a little bonus points on that. And the strongest point of the film, though, I think, not the strongest point of the film overall, because I think the film's overall tone is its strongest point, and the way that it's like culturally induced psychosis of the character feels like it's taken over the mise-en-scène and the editing as well. But the thing that consistently made me laugh the most is the use of music in the movie.
Oh yeah.
There is an album's worth, and I really do mean it when I say that, an album's worth of parodies of popular, generally classic rock songs that soundtrack this film. And I'm not going to spoil any of them, but man, they're up there with the song parodies of that one podcast, I'll just say, in how hard they made me laugh and how often I'm still thinking about some of them. And so that is my sell to you on the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man.
Yeah, I also greatly enjoyed the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man. I think, one, just amazing title. And,
Yes.
when I was out in L.A. last, Nico and I went to see the new Hal Hartley at the Lumiere Cinema, and they were also showing the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man. The timing didn't work out right, or else we would have
Damn.
gone to see that instead of the Hal Hartley. But just like walking by a theater and seeing the marquee have the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man on it, just like, how can that not put a smile on your
That's
face?
beautiful.
But yeah, I don't know. I think like in terms of linking like the last three movies, I don't want to say like this is less like about like being plugged in and online, but like in terms of like style and editing is another like hyper digital like movie on that sense.
And it's also like kind of about cinephilia with its amount of screen time being devoted to that, and also like the movie references within the film that are very sly, and like some of them are like, if you catch it, you're like, fuck, why do I get that reference? Like the use of and this isn't that deep of a cut, but like the use of the specific parody song over the end credits being, a parody of a song that appears in the end credits of a particular David Fincher movie, like, was just the absolute cherry on top of one of the most fantastic pieces of shit that I watched. Fantastic buckets of shit and piss that I watched this year.
Well, I'm sold. I was kind of like the highfalutin businessman, kind of being like the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man. I don't know if I could ever see myself watching a movie with a title like that, but you guys sold me. The description sounds amazing.
It's awesome. Everyone should check it out.
Hello, Eddie, Malcolm, and JT. This is Ryan Swen. As always, I'm very delighted to be asked to contribute a small voice memo to your Best of the Year podcast. And in some ways, this feels like an extension of the Best of the Decade So Far podcast that I also put in voice memo for. Primarily thanks to my number one film for this year, which is Caught by the Tides by Jia Zhengke. I mentioned it sort of in passing due to where my voice memo came in that episode. For me, it is still quite clearly one of the great films of this decade. One that I think, unlike any other film really this year, though there are many films that I've loved quite a lot, I think are really extraordinary works. I think that Caught by the Tide stands alone, even though, and I'll get into this in a piece I write for my own website, I think that it's an exemplar of one of the many trends in filmmaking this year, that being the idea of a film that's about searching, about people that search, about a search for a certain kind of ideal or unattainable thing. Obviously, that's the case here with Zhao Tao looking for Li Zhuping, her boyfriend, as constructed through the narrative that Jia has crafted from these outtakes and alternate footage from past films. But it's also him searching for a new, entirely different way to capture the development of China as he's seen and as he's already documented in fiction and nonfiction hybrid forms so brilliantly throughout the years. I'll briefly run through the other films in my top 10, which are number 2, Surat by Oliver Lasche, number 3, Grand Tour by Miguel Gomes, number 4, Misericordia by Elam Girardi, number 5, One Battle After Another by Paul Thomas Anderson, number 6, Resurrection by Began, number 7, Henry Fonda for President by Alexander Horwath, number 8, The Shrouds by David Cronenberg, number 9, Afternoons of Solitude by Albert Serra, and number 10, Blue Moon by Richard Linklater. I think it's been an interesting year of plenty of films that I've loved but haven't quite gotten as strongly on the wavelength of, and obviously there are exceptions to that, like Surat, which remains as contentious a film as I've really ever seen among people of similar critical taste. But I think there's plenty of films that are just under the radar, things like Jarmusch's Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, for instance, that prove it's been a bountiful, quite interesting year for cinema. Thank you guys as always. I look forward to listening to the episode in full.
Number 7 is the latest film by Jia Jung-ke, Caught by the Tides. Now,
God damn it.
So JT, you're anti-China. You're just like not into the whole project, or did you just not like this movie?
This year I was really slacking on non-English language films. It's so bad I can't even speak the damn language now, even though I watched all these fucking English movies. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know when it had a run out here. I think it played at the Philly Film Festival, but I just missed it. But another one for the watch list.
Now, JT, have you seen much Jia Jung-ke though?
Not particularly. I also feel like some of his newer stuff is not necessarily the best entry point. I feel like I've seen, maybe not, either 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I'm going in blind. But yeah, I've heard some. Is this one like? Is this the one that came out that has like a bunch of like old footage that he shot throughout the years?
Yeah, this is like B-roll, BTS outtakes, and just, yeah, I guess BTS is a lot of it. So it's footage that he's shot with his longtime muse partner, Zhao Tao, partner in crime, in between the films, the post-platform films, primarily, to me at least, recognizable were extrapolations of scenes from Unknown Pleasures and Still Life. Still Life, of course, we did an episode on years back with Josh Lewis. I don't know if you guys remember that. There was a double feature with Our Daily Bread by King Vidor. And that, my friends, is how you program a leftist film double feature right there.
What a heavy slice of podcasting we dropped on them.
The people weren't ready for it back then. I think if we just re-released that episode today, people would forget that it came out in like 2022, and they'd be like, these guys have got it going on.
We got so many episodes now. We could have some fire clip shows. We got
or
seasons
you
worth
could
of
do
clip shows.
in the spirit of this film. Perhaps you could take a lot of the behind the scenes, very usable clips of us saying things off recording. And edit that into a podcast of its own.
I'm sure that would be great. But yeah, so it charts the relationship of her relationship with Ben throughout the decades. And it's really just like a stand-in for watching the landscape of China change over the decades. And again, it's just a massive feat of editing. Zhao Tao, through the lens of Jia Jung-ke, is just like our contemporary version of Monica Vitti for Antonioni, just representing so much about, I don't want to say what's right or wrong with the world necessarily, but a lot of human emotions that people feel that can also be stand-ins for much larger ideas.
Yeah, looking at the theme of our list, we like these movies that are on the cutting edge, because I feel like this one, especially in its conclusion, like the ending is what sticks out the most for me, where we have Zhao Tao like in like one of those jogging groups, and all the use of like the robots at the end, like kind of what you've been put through with all this archival footage, and then that kind of last segment at the end with like kind of the modern depiction of China. It really kind of clicked everything into place for a movie I was already enjoying, but it really kind of put it over the edge. And I was a real big fan of this one.
It's also important to note, especially with the contemporary segment involving these probably AI-driven robots, that pop up here and there. Zhao Tao doesn't talk in this movie.
Yeah, that is
like
true.
She only texts, and I think that's like the most Antonioni-esque trait of the film. Number 6, The Phoenician Scheme by Wes Anderson. Wow. Wes Anderson, you've done it again, my friend. Just when everyone thought they were getting sick of you, you show them that you could do things maybe a little different than you've been doing them recently.
It's the new Wes Anderson, man. He's changed. He's listened to the criticisms. No. He's still up to his old tricks, but I had a real fun time with this one. I just love the plotting device of having to visit all these different business contacts and the relationship with his estranged daughter and the visual exactness. It just feels so right for this storyline. And Benicio del Toro's performance is, he's so great in this, and I feel like is maybe part of the reason I enjoyed this maybe a little bit more than recent fare. It's just such a strong central performance, and I don't know, I found it very I found the humor was hitting, and it was I feel like it was just a I feel like with Wes Anderson, there's kind of like a lot of criticism, kind of, people, maybe it's more like a mainstream criticism of people kind of not being so satisfied with like Asteroid City and The French Dispatch, which I thought were, good movies. Yeah. But I thought this one would be kind of like, this is the crowd pleaser that's going to win him back into everyone's graces. And I don't know if that's exactly happened.
It's not. It's within the world of Wes Anderson. It's like his most like genre heavy picture in ages, you know, and traditionally plotted and everything. Despite all of the discursive detours it takes and, things within things, as you see in Wes Anderson, whether they're frames within frames or stories within stories or flashbacks within whatever else is, or cutaways to the potential afterlife in the case of this film. So, Benicio is a wealthy businessman. He's made some enemies in his time, and as his living will, he ignores the wishes of his myriad of sons in order to bond with his daughter and leave everything to her. But in order to do so, they, as Malcolm said, have to stop off with all these business people that are kind of standing in the way of this titular scheme that is going to perpetuate the funds that Del Toro's character has accumulated over time. Michael Cera also joins them as a liaison about a quarter of the way through, maybe even halfway through, and he's funny. He's doing a really goofy voice, but it's one of those voices where like he starts and you're like, the whole movie, really? And then it's like, okay, it's fine. And then there's a reveal that that was a joke into itself.
Yeah, the Michael Cera character was, I think, he hasn't been in necessarily a whole lot, or I feel like more smaller roles. He's not the strapping young leading man he once was.
Yeah. That is how I would define Michael Cera circa Juno, is strapping.
But I really, really love his performance in that. Obviously Del Toro is the star, but especially giving him the turn to become like less of the nerd and become kind of like a suave American guy is very, very funny. And yeah, I don't know. I think I really like this. It still is like, I've enjoyed the run from, I guess, French Dispatch like till now. I think Asteroid City is probably my favorite of that run. But they're all like, I don't know, weird little fun movies. And I guess like for whatever like Wes Anderson fatigue there may be right now, I think that like when you look back like potentially like decades for now or something, like this is such a fun, productive time in his career. And even if they're like minor works, like smaller things, like they're still really fun, good movies. And I think like, especially with this, I think that like it could go up in my estimation. I could like it a lot more upon rewatch. I think he's just like putting in a lot of really good work still, just like as much as we joke about like doing the same thing, like he's advancing his style in like fun ways, and like I feel like only feels more playful. Like the heaven, like potential afterlife stuff here like that is very much of the recent Wes Andersons. Like that's not something I feel like you would see in like a Royal Tenenbaums or whatever. That like the, I don't know, alternate like kind of reality stuff. Like he mostly stuck to like the diegetic world before, but it's really fun to see him play narratively and even like do things with the camera that you wouldn't anticipate for him to do.
He is also with the new DP on this one, Bruno Delbonnel, which indicates maybe there's going to be some new visual stuff. There were a couple shots that I thought were like, okay, this looks a little different than the post Budapest films. But it is also, yeah, it's my favorite of those. It's my favorite thing he's done since Grand Budapest Hotel, which I think is probably still his best.
Hi, Extended Clip. This is Fran Hoepfner, and these are my 5 favorite movies of the year. My 5th favorite movie is Splitsville by Michael Angelo Covino. This is my favorite comedy of the year, and it felt like such a new and refreshing type of film while also being a throwback to screwball comedies of the 30s and 40s, and I think Dakota Johnson is amazing in it, which is not something I thought I would ever say. My 4th favorite film of the year is The Testament of Anne Lee, directed by Mona Fastfold. I've always said that Fastfold is the person in the Brady Corbet-Mona Fastfold relationship who has all the juice, and I think The Testament of Anne Lee really proves that. I think never has a movie with this many Americans doing Mancunian accents been so beautiful and also really funny. And also the Daniel Bloomberg score is just completely magical, and what a treat it is that he's actually in this movie too, lurking in the background. My 3rd favorite movie is The Secret Agent by Kleber Mendoza Filho. I just absolutely love Filho's films. I've loved his films for a long time, and this feels like such a perfect encapsulation of everything he's good at. Genre mashup and crazy violence and these winding Shaggy Dog type stories. And not for nothing, Wagner Moura is really hot. My 2nd favorite movie of the year is Peter Cujar's Day, directed by Ira Sachs, which is just a beautiful film about what can happen when a Jewish woman and a gay guy talk to each other, which is what most of my life has been. And last but not least, my favorite film of the year is Jia Zhangke's Caught by the Tides, a movie I saw in 2024, technically a 2025 release. Few viewing experiences more rewarding and refreshing and moving than this one, which just delights and awes on every possible sensory level and really feels like what it is like to live in the world we live in now and experience time and music and the club. I hope everyone has an amazing new year and that you don't think I'm wrong about any of these movies.
Number 5, you know, when people think about the greats of independent filmmaking, they think about Wes Anderson, and they think about Charles Roxburgh and Matt Farley. Perhaps the Wes Andersons of the 21st century. I don't know why that comparison doesn't make any sense other than that
they're Wes Andersons in their own right.
Well, Matt Farley has great taste in music, so does Wes Anderson.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why this transition isn't getting any better. The number 5 movie of the year is Evil Puddle, directed by Charles Roxburgh, written by and starring Matt Farley. I had the pleasure of introducing the West Coast premiere of this film at the Lumiere in Beverly Hills, the aforementioned Lumiere. And it is just so fucking awesome and a step forward in the Moturn Media universe. If you're listening to this and you don't know about Moturn Media, you don't exist, probably. I'm pretty sure you know. But the gods of 21st century micro cinema, or micro budget cinema, rather, the local legends themselves, Matt Farley, the most prolific songwriter of all time, and his directing partner, Charles Roxburgh, just making some of the funniest, most earnest, and idiosyncratic movies around. And Evil Puddle is probably the straight up silliest one they've made since don't let the river beast get you. I really feel that river beast energy coming back in this one, but the filmmaking has gotten so much better. Like Matt was saying in the post screening Q&A that we did, that Charlie got a new camera, and it's like, this is the first one they're making with the new camera. They're still figuring out, the limits of this thing, probably, after the last, whatever, 8 movies were shot on the same, probably DSLR. So it's a formal and visual advancement. It's also an advancement in the storytelling too. There's a lot of pilgrim magic and a lot of guys sitting around a pizza shop, which just, if you told me how much of this was guys I'd never seen before sitting around a pizza shop, I would not believe you. But man, they kind of steal the show.
Yeah, with this one, the world feels a little bigger. It is like the stuff with the pizza shop and kind of how he captures kind of a local specificity there, and kind of how quickly the characters are kind of drawn. There's about like 8 to 10 guys in that pizza shop, and exactly what type of guy they are, like almost immediately, and you get this great chorus like energy within the pizza shop. And that's like, it's kind of almost a tangent in the movie, but that's something that's really stuck with me in watching this, just how great those pizza shop scenes are, and kind of the interaction of characters. And even throughout, it's like, I feel like this has a pretty big cast, and you could kind of see his community is growing bigger, and it's reflected on screen. And I think it's only gonna improve the movies, which were already great. I would never I'm not trying to interfere with the process, but sometimes I feel it's fun to see things grow.
You don't want him to step it up.
You need to step it up. No, it's exciting when I basically repeating myself. I'm seeing the world getting bigger, and imagine what Farley and Roxburgh have already done. Imagine what they could do with more.
JT, how did you like Evil Puddle?
I loved it. There's no way I wasn't going to enjoy it, but it really exceeded expectations, especially with what you're saying in terms of like the look of the movie with the famous new camera. It looks great. I'm genuinely very excited to see what they do now that they're shooting in color again. And I think Evil Spot is the next one up.
Wow.
But it does it feels like
I like the dark sequels. That's a great trend for them, because the Local Legends Bloodbath is one of the best movies of the last few years.
Absolutely. And I just feel like they're like the new camera era, much like Wes Anderson is in kind of a set. It feels like Farley and Roxburgh, like particularly with Evil Puddle, are like transitioning into a new time where they're going like a little bit bigger. I feel like they're like zagging where or the last cycle of films that they did were like going from like their usual like weird like farce kind of parody stuff to doing their like grounded indie movies almost. The Local Legends Bloodbath is like a little bit different from that, but still like quote unquote serious black and white.
Yeah.
And now that like they're trying to do like larger things, like I think Farley at the screening of River Beast that we had out here, he was saying that like they might even do rehearsals or do more than one take. And it's just like, again, like the amount of like crazy work that they've done so far with just like ramshackle, like getting together like friends and family productions is insanely impressive. And to see them be like, okay, well, like let's do more like bigger budget style things. It's very, very fun. And like, the ensemble cast like just really helps make this feel like the most like epic scope like Moturn movie so far.
I think that 15 years from now, or way less, even 5 years from now, it would be a great box set, like the the discrete art house Moturn films, like all the black and white ones that came out. I guess it would be like after Slingshot Cops all the way up to, like, it's an editorial choice whether or not you include Bloodbath in there. And it's a really great chapter of indie filmmaking history right there,
Greetings to the wonderful Extended Clip podcast community. This is Sweet Palma speaking. I want to nominate for the best film of the year. Really, there is one candidate, only one candidate appropriate for this choice, and that is the inimitable Fuss, I believe it is called, Fuss, of Music Box Films, a film about the never-ending baseball game, especially in the age of the pitch clock and more aggressive hitting. A long, slow burn of a baseball game is unfortunately extinct, and this homage to the passage of time in an anodyne and benign way, while still, experiencing the fullness of life through the lens of a baseball game. But, the baseball game itself serves as a prophylactic for the rest of our dreary existences, and as the extra innings go on, it feels like living on borrowed time. And that is something that this film has captured wonderfully. Honorable mentions, of course, to two good movies, Begonia and Nirvana, the band, the show, the film, which I haven't personally seen, but I'm reliably told by my sources that it is just as good, if not better than, the TV show, nay, even the web series. Anyway, thank you for letting me take up so much of your time. I love you all so much. It's a great time to be on the clip, even if it is for just a short bit. I would love to come back sometime. Again, this is Sweet Palma. Bye-bye.
Number 4 is the debut feature film by one Carson Lund. It is Ephus. Ephus, ladies and gentlemen, is your number 4 film of the year from Extended Clip. Ephus is a baseball movie. It is a movie set in Douglas, Massachusetts, that depicts the final game between two teams in a long-standing adult recreational league for men who drink beer and smoke cigarettes and talk trash and get to know each other through the game and don't really have much to say to each other outside of that, and will probably never see each other again after this game because their bond is only so deep.
Yes.
And it is an awesome movie, shot so wonderfully by DP Greg Tango, written so wonderfully by its director and producer, and also by our friend Nate Fisher. Just an awesome ensemble of New England or New England believable faces and accents. Wonderful scope framing that evokes 50s Technicolor CinemaScope westerns, or also the black and white scope ones too. But the way scope was used in the mid-century when it meant something. I also was the set decorator and prop master on this film.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about that specifically. No, it was. Yeah, this is a really great movie. I love how, the movie is the game. It is like the movie starts and as they're setting up the game, and then it ends when the game's over, and we just kind of stay in the confines of the baseball diamond, and just all the different personality types, of guys playing this sport, ranging from like younger guys who are still kind of have their game, and kind of older guys who still want to show these young guys old dogs can learn a new trick. And it is just it's just purely captures the essence of the sport, and why baseball has some of the biggest fanatics out of any sport. Greatly captured by the scorekeeper character, gives it a nice extra layer of sentimental value there. And I love Divas.
JT?
Yeah, I also loved it. I mean, again, there is something so fun about seeing amazing art made by people you call your friends, whether it be this film, other films by friends of ours, I don't know, listening to some great music friends have made. It truly makes that special connection to the art, I don't know, all that more important to me, because it's just again, seeing people go beyond the potential of what you could even imagine for very talented individuals. And with this movie, it ties into that factor so much for me, because it's the hangout, and it's gets the feeling of hanging out with the buddies. And while this one isn't necessarily the tightest of buddies, there's a lot of good-natured razzing and some not so good-natured, but it captures that feeling so well. And I don't know, I think this really kind of came at the perfect time for me, as in only really starting to watch sports after I had moved back to Philly. I feel part of the fun and getting into it is learning to deal with the not winning. And I know Nate he's a big fan of the John Boyce stuff, right? And so much of that ethos there is about the other stories of sports and the losing and the weird characters. And baseball, out of I'd say all sports, has the most kind of odds and end weird guys involved in strange quirky characters. And beyond that, the aspect of dealing with losing and being a loser. There are so many fucking games in a baseball season. Even if you have an elite record, you're an amazing record, an amazing baseball season would be 100 wins. You still have to deal with a lot of fucking losing there too. And I don't know. I think it's so good at capturing the plight of the loser in general, and how we kind of make our peace with our lot in life there. Such a beautiful, funny movie that it just makes me so happy. I don't know, having that experience be connected to some of my favorite people that I know.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience making the film, but that was also fucking 3 years ago now. You know, it's on to the next one, as they say. No, no, it's just crazy how long some things have really fast turnaround. Some things the edit's long, and then the distro's long and everything. And I, am so happy the film rolled out the way it did, because so many people got to see it and so many people loved it, and I saw it on a lot of year-end lists, and it made me happy.
Hey guys, Ty Landis calling in to talk about Oliver Lax's Seurat, which premiered at the Cannes Film Festival earlier this year. A man and his son arrive at a rave lost in the mountains of Morocco. They're looking for Marina, their daughter and sister, who disappeared months ago at another rave. Driven by fate, they decide to follow a group of ravers in search of one last party, in hopes Marina will be there. And not even my favorite film of the year by any means, but one I keep thinking about and returning to in my head. Lax's filmography, rather, full of just distinct and unique depictions of primal urges. This film following this father and son as they tag along with this group of ravers, which more resembles sort of a makeshift family of sorts. And what I found to be evocative and affecting here is the doom-laden bad vibes that envelop the film. For the first half, it's hard to pin down, where it might go. And where it does go is somewhere darkly sinister, increasingly morbid, darkly comedic, and penetratingly miserable. But amidst it all, on the periphery of the shoestring plot, the world is crumbling and seemingly ending due to some unnamed catastrophe. Oliver Lax wisely doesn't get too specific, but what's the point? What better sums up our day-to-day existence over the last few years other than learning to move and vibe out and get lost in the utter decay of civilization? Here, we're out in the desert and mountains, an utter void full of despair, but what's left to do, again, aside from dancing and keep moving to the beat of our own utter demise? A film that has stuck in my craw, and one that when it hits, it's as hypnotic as anything else this year, and laced with images that feel new and ones that should leave a lasting mark, even if the drama of the narrative doesn't quite land like it should. So yeah, that's Sarat, the Bad Vibes films of the year. Thanks again for having me on. Have a wonderful new year. Talk soon.
The number 3 film of the year is Cloud by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. This, like Caught by the Tides and Ephus and our number 2 film to be mentioned later, a lot of people saw this almost like a year or 13 or 14 months ago, either on the festival circuit or like some screeners and stuff, and had a bit of a slow rollout, but came out in the States in the summer, and I just caught it recently at home. It is the story of a reseller. And to paraphrase the title of a film that we covered on the podcast like 4 years ago, it could also be called I Accidentally Domed My Drop Shipper. So basically, you're just watching this guy leave his normal job, his normal guy job, in order to hustle his online job, which, hey, as a guy who's had like 5 normal jobs in the course of having this podcast, I get it, but he might be playing with fire a little bit with some of this bootleg merchandise and some of these crazy markups he's running, and he gets an assistant under his wing and everything, and it's really like a ennui filled procedural about just like a shitty guy reselling things while his girlfriend is there, and then things just take an insane turn for the dark. Like, the darkness is looming, obviously, like through the sound design, the set design, the cinematography, the performance style. The darkness is looming, but the actual scenarios, if you say them, it's like, yeah, it's just like a shitty dude, with his girlfriend. And then once they get to the classic Kurosawa warehouse, because this dude knows how to shoot an abandoned warehouse or a rundown house or any kind of rundown abandoned building, Kiyoshi Kurosawa was getting all up in that shit. And this is no exception. This is like in the sleek digital vision version of that, though, unlike something like Cure, where the film grain and low light kind of obscures a lot of stuff, This one is just like almost Fincher vision, and it's so sick, and it just becomes like almost a comedy of violence. Like it so many people get killed that it's just like, how are there even more people to get killed at this point? Like, how many bad guys are going to show up? I thought it was just a fucking awesome film about the way we live today.
I was a huge fan of this one. I just love how, it captures, different aspects of modern life. Whereas, we get, as you've referred to him, the shitty guy, the drop shipper, the guy who's trying to hustle, little male motivation, in that hustle culture, trying to, realize, I can make better money rather than working an honest job where I do, I like in the scenes at the factory, like the boss is like really wanting him to stay and be like, you could like grow in this company and like, you could really cement yourself here, and kind of, I think there's a lot of people who kind of, they see that type of option and they're like, I'd rather just rip people off for a living, and that would be much more attractive because I could do it on my own terms. And there's of course a part of, I feel like, everyone who totally gets that to a certain extent, but maybe the way this guy does it here is not so savory. But then, you know, the things that he's reselling, like the pop figurines, right? I love that that's kind of touched upon, you know, kind of, you know, that's like a type of person, right? Like the pop crazed, obsessed person.
The Funko Pop guys.
The Funko Pop. And yeah, like he buys up all the Funko Pops. And then it's transitioned to this, you know, when shit gets real. And I love his kind of his underling that he hires, who is like,
my god,
a real kind of a real gangster, and kind of shows him, you know, how things kind of have to be done. And then, you know, it is like, I feel like there's a lot of ways you could read the violence of the back half of this movie, and I think it is like kind of comedic how it kind of piles upon. But I don't know, I feel like I've seen that kind of in other movies, and I've kind of maybe I could kind of be not like it so much, but in this one there's just such a reckless abandon for all human life that these characters have to take. And it's kind of like, you know, that's kind of like the ethos of the movie, you know, kind of like you have to rip people off, you have to, you know, just be a killing machine to kind of get exactly where you want, you know, on your own terms. And I just thought the commentary is just so smart and kind of baked into all the action that's going on. And you know, I found this movie very enthralling. Like, you know, I was a fan of like something like Wife of a Spy, but you know, it is to him kind of be more on the cutting edge here. I feel like he's done it with great results with this and Chime. You know, both those movies very high on my year-end list, and he's one of my favorites. I really do love Kiyoshi Kurosawa, and Cloud delivered.
Good reminder on Chime, which was on our best of the year list episode last year.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Cloud. I saw it a little bit earlier than you fellas. Like, it ran at the Philly Film Festival last year, and it was a rare instance of having that festival buzz where I'm like, people are gonna love this one. Like, this one is fucking like amazing. Weird, fun tone for him to strike that I feel like I haven't quite seen before. I know he has some movies that at the very least look like they're in a more comic kind of vein, but like, I think like doing that like weird, like foreboding kind of comic tone, like ultimately like the way the movie ends, like Kurosawa has been like obsessed with like these like end of the world capitalist like destruction, but here it's just like after like using that end where it's just like all of these characters are so hollow, like Yoshi's like girlfriend clearly like fucking hates him or is only interested in being like the classic gold digging girlfriend. Everyone is just kind of out for themselves, and then like it's like him in the car, right? Like it had what's the final shot?
Yeah, it's him and the assistant in the car, and it's like a recreation of the bus type shot in the bus shot in Cure, which I think he also does in another movie at one point.
I think he does
it
in Pulse, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's in Pulse.
Yeah.
Is the first time he echoes that kind of shot. But man, those like purple and orange, if I recall correctly, clouds that they're just driving directly into.
Yes.
Is so sick.
It's awesome, and it's just like heading into like just steering forward into like complete evil, and yeah, I don't know. I just love like him having like a grind set guy. Like it's so funny. Like I did not think that Kiyoshi Kurosawa of all people was going to like depict like, I don't know, the success facts or like business mindset like style shit. Like having a guy that's really tapped into that headspace. I think there's so many people that like have absorbed like digital hustle business culture and use that as a guiding light. Like seeing it depicted here as just someone who's just like totally driven by that is so funny, and it's so good.
And it's not like too like heavy-handed in that. It's kind of more like in the actions this guy takes and how that's reflected. And I don't know, I feel like this movie just really goes straight for the throat. That's kind of my DVD box quote right there. But it's just like this movie like really goes for it, and I feel like succeeds in such a great way.
Well, it's like so true to life and like how these kinds of guys operate. Like especially because what ultimately happens in the shootout is like Yoshi has like a guru at first, or like a guy he's like getting advice from, right?
Yeah.
Because he's like sitting at like park benches, like talking to him, and then like telling him like, I don't know, trying to like kind of impress him like a little bit more. It's like those guys always have like I don't know whether it, like I'd say in the contemporary, it's like there are people watching a bunch of like Andrew Tate videos or something like that. Here it's less like, going for like this satirical point and kind of presenting that in real life.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just so perfect in capturing the time.
Those scenes with like his mentor or whatever you would call him, his guru, are so great because it is like both guys trying to like impress the other that they're not like doing poorly, but they are,
and just have no fucking friends.
Hey boys, it's Baby Bobby Franco, your old pal. I don't want to do a top films of 2025, although I'll give you top 3 really quick. One Battle After Another, Ethos, and Marty Spring. But that's not what I want to do. I'm going to do something different, because I'm different. I'm going to give you my some of my favorite film screenings that I went to, and more specifically, things I saw on a 35mm print, with a couple DCPs in there. All right. So this is not in order of importance. I'm just looking at the diary. Okay. Wizard of Oz, New Beverly, 35mm print, IB Technicolor print. Amazing. One of my favorite movies. Everyone knows me, knows how much I love this movie. Let's see. Blue Collar, 35mm print, New Beverly. Incredible. First time I had seen that. The acting between fucking Harvey Keitel and Richard Pryor is incredible. It's crazy to see, everyone knows that they hated each other while making the movie, but the chemistry seems so real. Beautiful. Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, 35mm print, New Beverly. Come on. You can't beat it. Okay, this one was revelation. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, 35mm print, Academy Museum, Scene with Brother Eddie. Man, seeing that on a print really blew me away. You haven't seen it until you've seen it on a film print. It's incredible looking. Eyes Wide Shut on a 35mm print at the Los Feliz 3. Gorgeous, beautiful, amazing. I'll do 2 more. Yeah, I'll do 2 more. And then I'll give a couple of DCP shoutouts. Okay. So now everyone is seeing Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair on the washed 4K version or the 70mm version. I saw it twice, but before they did the 70mm version, I saw the 35mm version at the Vista, and that was another revelation. Incredible to see a movie or 2 movies that I've seen so many times and have a completely different experience. Amazing, beautiful, and he's a good man and has done nothing wrong. And, well, he's done things wrong, but I'm on his side forever. Okay, and then finally for the 35mm prints, I will say Dirty Work, The Dirtier Cut, 35mm print, New Beverly, amazing, hilarious. God bless you, Norm Macdonald. God bless you, Artie Lang, the boys. And then, really, my final thing to say is I saw Twin Peaks: The Return, 3-day marathon at the Egyptian. And man, oh man, if they do that in your town, if they do a weekend marathon of that, I highly recommend it. it felt like going to church. All right, boys. I hope you all have a happy holiday, and hope we all have a great 2026 where we make lots of money and make lots of deals. God bless you. I love you. Mwah.
Number 2 is, and this is close, like we all had the same top 2 but in a different order, so it wasn't a unanimous number 1. So on the point scale, 2 and 1 were as close as any 2 films.
This is a photo finish.
A photo finish, as they say, but coming up just short. And not really coming up short because it's a fucking amazing movie. The second best movie released in 2025 was David Cronenberg's The Shrouds. David Cronenberg's The Shrouds sees Vincent Cassel as the guy who looks like David Cronenberg. And it's standard in more ways than one, of course, because this is a film about David Cronenberg's grieving process since the tragic passing of his wife. And this is a film in which Vincent Cassel, after a really harsh opening on a dental probe, is introduced to be a guy who runs this almost art house funeral service where people can go graveside and look through this new technology on their phone / on the tombstone itself to watch the decay of their loved one's body. And if that premise alone doesn't hook you, wait till you hear about, the ghost of the dead wife that visits him in the dream, and the same actress playing another very important character, Diane Kruger, that is. And you also get Guy Pearce as the total fucking weirdo conspiracy nut that really stands in for what we talked about with Eddington, where so much of contemporary life is just making yourself go insane and come up with these, Chinese Russian conspiracies. Yeah. I loved this movie.
Yeah, no, this was an amazing movie. It was, not to show my hand too much, but it was my personal number 1. And, just, thinking of, kind of grieving and the modern process of grieving and having that filtered through modern life where you have these your grief is mixed up with AI chatbots and pornography. Dude. and how
Honey?
yeah
Honey is going to be the 4th mic on the show next year, the AI companion voiced by Diane Kruger, so technically a triple role by her.
And how all those characters kind of meld together in a strange way for this Cronenberg stand-in who's, is there's you could view him kind of as a pure Cronenberg stand-in, or he's also I also view him as a stand-in, just a guy in the tech business.
Oh, yeah. He's like Cronenberg meets Musk in a way.
Cronenberg Musk.
No, for sure. Yeah.
And
because you can't be that direct. And I feel like Crimes of the Future already was so direct about being about artistry. And that film had some genre elements in the background, but really was a film about the artistic process. This one has even less genre elements. It's the graves get robbed.
Yeah. The plot is a guy who's selling something that nobody really needs is under fear that it's being hacked for government war technology. You know what I mean? And all while he's kind of, grieving his recently passed wife. And I feel how it kind of deals with all these things and kind of some of the, horrific things that happen, kind of the sexy AI chatbot seduction scene, and kind of all just the weird layers that the Cronenberg character stand-in has to go through just to get to the actual reality of the matter. I just thought it was geniusly plotted, and I think I like kind of the laid back plotting of it. I think I already said this on a previous episode, but it reminded me a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and
just old people vibing out.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a scene that's like a problem that takes 5 minutes to figure out. Basically, it's late era. It's post season 8 Curb. Like once it came back from cancellation or whatever, self-imposed cancellation. Yeah,
and ending it in the sky, ending it in the dreamland, so unresolved, so unfinished. I think it's a perfect ending, and the Crimes of the Future Shrouds, these are very special late entries from Cronenberg. These will not be forgotten.
Yeah, I also love this. This was my number 2 on my personal list. And yeah, with Crimes of the Future, I had the experience of like enjoying it when I first saw it in the theater, but after a rewatch, it definitely grew with me, and just thinking about the movie. But the Shrouds, like, I had such I was just on board and loving it the whole time. I think, especially, like, I don't know, Cronenberg is so, like, perfect at, like, kind of combining, like, comedy and the tragic, this was just easy to, like, get into, and just, like, I don't know, I was surprised how just, like, deeply moved. Not, like, obviously it's the grief where you can translate, like, as Cronenberg grieving over his own dead wife. Obviously those are, like, powerful emotions, but with, like, how many strange things I feel like are kind of backgrounded in this, particularly the, like, Guy Pearce plotting element of it. It's just I don't know, distinctly moving in, like, how we remember our loved ones, especially now that, like, I don't know, I can just take an old photo of my grandmother and be like, hey, at Grok, can you make my grandma hold a sign that says, I love listening to extended clip? And it's like obviously like released, like, festival circuit, like 2024. Like, I'm not sure how long specific elements of this were, like, in production. I know this was the one that, like, was planned as, like, a series for Netflix or something at first, right?
Oh yeah. I remember hearing something vague about that. Yeah,
and it was kind of repurposed to be a feature. But just thinking about, like, the digital, like, tech elements of it, and I mean, I'm sure it evolved as it went into production, but, like, so much of this feels like, I don't know, ahead of the curve with, like, how you can create images with, like, AI and, like, that general effect. It's just Malcolm was right. This and Crimes are just amazing, like, late entries by, like, a complete master, and wonderful, beautiful movie.
that only leaves one left, and
it's all right. I'm gonna steal the show here. It's Life of Chuck. Life of Chuck is the #1 extended clip movie of the year. All right, goodbye, everyone. Have a good night.
Number 1. 26 years ago, this filmmaker's 3-hour overstuffed classic began with the phrase, sung by Amy Mann, 1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever know. Well, actually, the opening title sequence starts with that. There's a cold open, too. It's Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. Duh. Like, yeah, I mean,
yeah, you got us. You saw it coming.
I'm not beating the allegations on this one. I absolutely, fucking lost my shit over this movie. I went gaga. I went all film bro, because that's what happens when I see a movie that fits right in with all the old movies that I love and isn't just better than the other new movies that are at the theater right now. This is the latest by Paul Thomas Anderson, of course, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn and Chase Infinity and Benicio del Toro and Regina Hall and Tiana Taylor. It's about Leo being a burnout who was involved in a revolutionary group at one point and had a child with Tiana Taylor's revolutionary character. And years later, in her teen years, an unconventional paternity showdown transpires between the man who she's long thought to be her father and the PMC Punisher God Colonel Lockjaw, played by Sean Penn, who actually had a sexual affair with her real birth mother while they were exchanging favors of fluids and detainment or lack thereof. So it's like a 30-minute montage of mini action set pieces to open, and then you get like the cool reset with the Steely Dan, and you meet Benicio del Toro, the sensei, and it all just kind of like starts revving back up to the last 45 minutes or so, which are and I don't say this lightly, like Terminator 2 level, Vanishing Point level, Death Proof level, just god tier car chase. Like, I truly just lost it and thought I was tripping and was like, I gotta watch that again to make sure it did not actually fall asleep and hallucinate how crazy that was. Just the perspective shots from the front of the car over those hills are still in my head constantly. And yeah, it's my favorite movie in years.
Yeah, no, this was a great one. You know, we talk about sometimes with these end of year lists, we talk about hype machines. For me, you know, this lives up to all the anticipation and waiting for it. And, you know, kind of looking back at our list, right? We got a lot of filmmakers, you know, they're on the cutting edge. They're really, they got their finger on the pulse. And you could say that with this movie, but I feel like what's really interesting about this movie, I feel like it really tackles kind of like a lot of the public's kind of just political confusion and kind of just encapsulates it through its characters, where it's like you got a guy who's like in his own right was a real revolutionary, but now, you know, fast forward 20 years later, you got a self-proclaimed revolutionary, but he's really just, you know, sitting on his couch smoking weed, watching movies,
watching the Battle of Algiers. That's what makes him a revolutionary.
Well, yeah, that's praxis.
I'm sure many of our listeners can relate.
Well, that is praxis. I forgot that is praxis. But then, you know, then you got aspiring white supremacists who can't even really bring themselves to, you know, make these white children that are so valuable in their eyes. And you know, just kind of the comedy of these two characters, you know, kind of spinning into a whirlwind. It's just so much fun, and it is. I feel like its conclusions are very touching, and the performances are so great. You know, this era of Leonardo where he's kind of playing like the bumbling fool. You know what I mean? It is kind of. I kind of take a metatextual read on that, where, you know, he's always getting criticism for, you know, liking younger women, you know, so to speak. And he's like, all right, you want to see me age? Maybe I won't do it that way, but I will. I'll do it on screen. I'll give you that, you know. Stay out of my personal life. But
the first time I was watching it, I mean, you two were beside me the first time I watched Licorice Pizza and saw just like the childish conniption fit of laughter I was having at certain scenes. Mm-hmm. It was more than that even at the parent-teacher conference scene. I mean, like, starting from the prelude where he's in the car smoking, bending over like that, and like opening and closing the door to try to air it out and everything, and then the cut to him from that high angle with the beady eyes and everything, like, just so fucking funny, man. Like, that is the funniest acting I've seen Leo do, and I think that Wolf of Wall Street's like one of the funniest movies ever made, you know?
Definitely. No, and the way that scene progresses, where he's calling, you got Ben Franklin on the wall. I mean, oh my, that whole scene really is
the Grand Wizard.
The Grand Wizard. Just the nice teacher. It's so good.
I mean, PTA is just the funniest fucking director, man. Like, even his most serious movies are hilarious. So him just like making a more crowd pleasing genre movie, like, you know he's just going to hit those comedic beats super hard every time, and Leo is the perfect vehicle for that. His connection with Benicio del Toro as the sensei, their chemistry is just next fucking level. The sensei himself, one of the great characters to be introduced in years.
Oh yeah.
JT?
I mean, I loved it, of course. In terms of it like being an adaptation of Vineland, I think it's very fun in the sense where like Inherent Vice is pretty like he's pretty to the book. I feel like
there's a couple major things, and then like there's a lot that's directly from the book, which is crazy, like dialogue. But like
yeah,
it does the perspective change in Inherent Vice, I think is somewhat major.
I just mean in terms of like obviously like he's putting his own spin in Inherent Vice, but in terms of like covering the actual events, like he proved in that one like he could take Pynchon's work and do it like to the letter of the law. But here, taking something that like a novel like Vineland, which goes in a lot of weird, like convoluted, like I mean, it goes in the places that Pynchon goes, and I think like parsing it down to something that is so like fun and crowd pleasing, and just stripping it to like the very basic like kind of love triangle elements of it, I think just like work flawlessly. And I don't know, you had brought up your theatrical experience with all of us like watching Licorice Pizza, big smiles on our face. This time around, like we're all like I told this on the Patreon. First time I saw this, I went with a lot of people after a day of shooting Crazy Feeling, and having Will Sennett be able to call me out for audibly gasping at the Steely Dan needle drop was both embarrassing, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, no, I was having a great time. That was like so fucking cool.
JT just soy facing, pointing at the screen at everybody. Oh, they play Dirty Work. And it's so funny because I mean, fucking dude, I had already seen it multiple times, and then when I went to go see The Smashing Machine, when that movie let out, I heard Dirty Work through the multiplex walls, and I was just like, oh, and just like a fucking zombie, I just went into the theater and just sat down.
Did you watch
I didn't watch
it
the whole thing.
okay.
I watched like 30 minutes of it though, but like,
That's
and the movie had just let out that I was in, like I hadn't even gone to the bathroom or anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I gotta write my Smashing review now. You know, but at least that sent me out of the theater on a better mood.
Definitely.
The Sean Penn performance, like really left me stunned more than, I mean, obviously Leo, Benicio, but like the specific things that Sean Penn is like doing with his like face, like licking his teeth and like always like kind of fidgeting in some way, and how they have him like costumed like he like straight up looks like actually like RFK Jr. in parts of this movie. Like people do that kind of comparison to like Republican guys, but like the tiny like the fit of his suit on his body and walking like there's a complete rod wedged up his ass, like so fucking funny. It just like I don't know, he delivers on all fronts with it, and yeah, I don't know.
It is such a powerhouse performance. It is like that shot of him walking from the wreckage, that amazing epic shot that PTA has. Like that's just the funniest. Like just him with his like rooster like posture, kind of like emerging from the wreckage is just it is like it's a performance where it's just like every square inch of it is hilarious. Like all the different movements of his body is just like it's really something to behold. I haven't seen Sean Penn act like this in years, you know, and I know he's friends with PTA, so you know maybe there's some bonding that motivated him.
Well, I think as we wrap up here and are discussing Sean Penn, I would be remiss not to mention, what is it called? The thing with him and Kid Rock.
Oh, Americans.
Americans.
Americans. Oh man, I love showing that to people. Americans. He's had experience in political filmmaking before, you would say, with Americans, right?
Absolutely. Directed by Jameson Stafford. It's a 2012 election season short film, 11 minutes long, with Sean Penn and Kid Rock as a liberal and a Republican, respectively, a libtard and a chud, and they're just showing each other that, we can all get along. We're all Americans here.
Yeah.
It is so bad and so hilarious. And we all watched it together once.
Yeah.
That was very fun. I loved watching that with you guys.
That was amazing. I love the clip of Bradley Cooper on the Howard Stern show, alerting them up. It's like, have you guys seen that?
Yes.
It's like, it's great. It's great. Just watch. It's very, he's very sly. He's not, he's just just check it out. Just watch it.
He knows what he's doing. He's telling Howard Stern to watch this piece of shit.
And that's our number one movie of all time.
Honestly, it kind of is. All right. Did any of us see his movie about stand-up?
No, there's a lot of
really
movies
want
I have
to.
not seen this year. That's one clarification. I haven't seen a lot of. I mean, I've seen maybe more than your average Joe.
Sure.
But, that's not really something to. It's not a victory lap I should take on this podcast. I just haven't. I haven't seen that.
Look,
or
we do
Avatar.
it. We do it at the end of the year. We just do it when it's what we've seen. You know.
Yeah.
We're honest like that.
Hey, honest and popular don't go hand in hand.
Shit.
That's
Actually,
that's how the old song goes.
Then on that, I have seen that movie. It was great. It's my number 5 movie of the year.
What, Ishtar?
No, why is this thing on?
Why is this?
Yeah, why is this? That's a great question about our podcast.
Is this thing here? Whatever.
Titles. You know what didn't go mentioned was Marty Supreme, and we all did see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Well, I am not Marty's biggest fan.
Oh,
interesting.
I read your review and feel similarly, if maybe a slight step down. You gave it 3.5. I gave it 3. And,
I was saying to Malcolm before that I think you're a slightly more generous rater than I am. So a JT3 might be slightly more like an Eddie 2.5.
That's probably. I'd say that math checks out. Because I liked it. I like 3 is
you have a half-star handicap on me.
3 is good, and I think it's good, but I mean it felt like movies they've done before and a worse version of that to some hitting on similar themes and being less effective, and just the general shape of the story, the weird fun avenues were just not fun to me. All the Abel Ferrara dog stuff, just I just was not enjoying it like I was meant to.
Here's the thing. I love Abel Ferrara, and I'm not going to be a stickler about anything else period-wise, but Abel Ferrara types didn't exist in the 50s because crack cocaine didn't exist yet.
True.
But anyway, that's the only nit that I'll pick about Marty Supreme. You can read my review of it. I think it's a good movie. It just has its shortcomings that I think a lot of people are overlooking. And I think that it's a much, much, much better campaign than it is a film.
So that's right. Fuck Marty Supreme. It's not on our list. We fucking hate it.
Malcolm, did you like it?
Yeah, no, I liked it. A good, more personal list, which I'm very.
Malcolm voted for.
I'm very private about this list. I'm not trying to reveal too much of. No, but it was number 10. I thought it was very enthralling. Thinking back on it, I do recognize the flaws, but I think about when I was watching it, I was really into it. So that's my layman's review.
Hey, you can always read my layman's reviews. What's the opposite of a layman? A standman?
An expert.
No. You can read my medium talent review about that, as well as One Battle After Another, and a bunch of these movies over at my Substack, vintageviolence.substack.com. But also, if you want more of this classic extended clip feeling, patreon.com/extended_clip. The link's in the description of the episode that you're listening to right now. Sign up over there, $5 a month. You get an extra episode every week. It's great. It's the deal of the century.
It's enough to keep you warm during these cold winter times.
And in our last one, we talked about the best movies that we watched for the first time this year. You know, the old movies, the sister episode to this annual extravaganza. And on next week's Patreon episode, that's going to be the first Patreon episode of the new year and the first episode of the new year in general. And we're going to ring it in with the Marx Brothers. Duck soup, baby.
Oh, that's going to be nice. That's going to be nice.
Doesn't duck soup sound so nice on a cold morning?
Duck soup? It's almost as good as the flavor of green tea over rice, I would say, in terms of comfort food. The cinematic comfort food restaurant I'm opening up.
Is that your, are you doing some programming at Vidiot's Comfort Food Cinema?
No, I'm doing some programming at Dai Tai Fung, actually.
Malcolm's just going to Chengdu Taste and setting up DVD players on the little TV that there might be there, if I remember correctly, and putting on Drunken Master 2.
Something like that,
yeah. Pull it up to the Din Tai Fung in the Glendale Mall. Just like, you guys are all watching Drunken Master 2 now. And you can email us at extendedclippodcast@gmail.com with all of your complaints about our list. Goodbye, everybody.